Hello, viewers. Welcome to Voice of the Youth, and I'm Benedict, your host. Today, we are looking at something critical to Ghana's development. We are looking at Ghana's educational system, and we've been able to bring on board a professional teacher. He's been with the GES for some time, and you would have no better person than a teacher to explain and let you know what goes in our educational system, the positives, the negatives, and then the way to go. Stay with us and enjoy this discussion. Thank you. As I said earlier, we have a professional teacher here with us, and he's in the person of Mr. David Yentumi. Yes, so welcome, David.
Thank you very
Welcome
much.
to Voice of the Youth. And then let's not waste too much time. Let's get straight to business.
Sure.
Right, so we are going to look at Ghana's educational system and how it's been in the past, how it is now, and how you think we could do better with our educational system going forward. So we would begin with, how do you see Ghana's educational system? Being a teacher, how do you see it? Is it practical enough? How do you see the educational system?
So, from my point of view, the educational system is doing well, but I think it can do better more than it's doing right now, especially when it comes to the curriculum we have right now than the one we had. It's really helping, but it still kind of focuses more on the theory aspect, the written aspect, than the practical aspect of it, which is the problem. So basically, that is one of the main challenges I see with the Ghana education system. And if I think that is changed in the nearing future, I think things will change and then the education will become a better off. So that's what I
Okay,
think.
okay. So, as a professional teacher, what, what I would say, what do you think is the hidden problem in Ghana's education? It's not said, it's hidden unless you are within the system before
Yes,
you
please.
see
Yeah.
it. So let me know what's hidden
Yes.
in there.
So the problem is not necessarily hidden, but then it comes in four ways, from four aspects. That's what I've noticed.
Okay,
I'll start with the big one. That is has to do with the government.
okay,
The second has to do with the teachers.
okay,
The third has to do with the students, and the
okay,
last one is with the parent. So these four major stakeholders of education in Ghana here is mainly one of the main problems. What's one of the main problems of the education system? Let me start with the government. Now, with the government, especially with the basic level, it's like we focus more on the advanced level, the SHS, the university levels, and they have all the facilities and the items that will make the system work. But when it comes to the basic level, it's not like that. Though they try as much as possible to help other schools in the basic level, especially those in the urban areas to thrive. But those that are in the mid-rural and the actual rural areas are really suffering when it comes to infrastructure and the rest. Now, those in the rural areas and other areas, whenever you see there's an improvement in the school, it tells you two things. It's either from an NGO or it's an election year, where
okay.
someone seeking for a position would either donate chairs, books, paint the school or something, just to get the people to know, I want to go there. So in election years, you see a lot of improvement in infrastructure in the government schools and the rest. If not, it boils on the NGOs and then the genuinity of people around who wants to do something, old students and the rest. That is a part of the government when it comes to resources. When it comes to teachers, now I've realized that the teachers of old and the teachers of new, there is a bit difference. That zeal, that passion that old teachers used to have, some of the teachers now do not have it. Though this is the time where we have a lot of things at our disposal where we could make the teaching a bit easier for the students, but the zeal is not there. Number two, the opportunities, the chances over there. Everyone wants to make it. But recently it's become like when you're a teacher, you are not cut out to make it because of the salary and incentive that comes with it. So when the person have a better chance to travel abroad, that's the teacher exodus we are seeing right now, then they tend to leave. So right now, the ratio of teacher to students is very big, where there are about 200 students to like 10 teachers or to like 5, 6
Wow.
teachers. So it becomes a very big problem. That is the teacher exodus. People are moving to China, to Vietnam to teach away from Ghana. Saudi Arabia. I have a teacher friend who is in Dubai teaching right now.
And is it helping them?
Yes, because in terms of salary, the gap is huge. The gap is huge. Imagine a teacher taking 3,500 cedis in Ghana, going to the Dubai, China, Vietnam, taking like 10,000 or 12,000 a month.
You know, I have my own problems with that. let me go in a little bit. I would say when you are here, you live in cities, you pay your bills in cities. But
Yes.
when you are there, it's in their currency. So to check whether something is good or bad, you have to look at how much you are able to save.
Yes.
That's how you rate it. But
Yes.
that's a top,
Yes.
that's
So
a discussion for another day.
whenever they give you an appointment, they specify your salary. And one of the things they do that makes the teachers really try as much as possible to go there is the allowances.
Okay.
No teacher is taking rent allowance here in Ghana. But for them, they'll give you car allowance, rent allowance, medical allowance. So those allowances are able to help you save more. Unlike here where every other thing depends on your salary.
Okay.
Hope you understand what I'm saying. So it makes it a bit difficult for them when it comes there. So it's like greener pastures over there. Two, one thing that makes them go there is the kind of resources that they have at their disposal to teach. Unlike here, where it makes the job very difficult to teach. The kind of resources, the kind of materials you would have. Imagine teaching maths on a chalkboard, being compared to teaching maths on a smart board over there. Where with the smart board, every shape you want to have, everything you want to see, whether video, picture, you can just bring it out right there in the class and the student will have. So it makes the job easier. So imagine doing an easy job for more money than doing a difficult job for less money. Which one would you choose? So the
Well,
teacher answered us, you see that?
okay.
Yes, that's the thing.
So are we preparing students for life, or we are just preparing them to pass exams?
That's the thing. We are preparing them to pass exams because that's how the system is. As a teacher, you come to class and the curriculum we have given you limits you to teach the students to what is built in the classroom. The kind of questions they are asking is not helping the student to think. All our questions are what is, list. There's a few times you hear discuss, determine, what do you think? It's recently that the new curriculum is trying to bring that. But that also has to do with practical things for the child to be able to explore. But if those things are not there, it comes back to what is. So then the teacher is being forced to do things that will help the student pass the exam. Because if the student don't pass, your head teacher or the director will also come back and ask why the student didn't pass.
Okay, so
But passing the exam does not also mean you make it in life. This is where the trick is. But they have made it like you have to pass before they know the teacher is doing something good. So then the teacher will also have to focus on the student passing the exam than what the student will learn in the long while.
okay,
So
so
that's it.
this will lead me to another question. Um, what kind of pressure do you teachers face? You know, coming from what you are saying, you said you are kind of forced to make sure students pass, and that's a form of pressure. So
Yes.
give me some of the pressures you face
So
during
imagine
your,
you have a science lesson and it's in
yes.
biology, but then you have like 45 minutes, let's say 1 hour, 30 minutes, and you have a curriculum. I'm not saying it's bad. The curriculum is very good. It guides the teacher on what to teach. But then the time given you tells you that you cannot do anything practical because you have to set up the place and do these things. So you have to resort to the
Yeah.
theory aspect. What is, do this, add this. Basically, because it's time bound.
Okay.
I get what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we have a whole lot of topics, subjects. Imagine a student in basic one learning 9 subjects: English, math, science, creative arts, RME, history, P, in basic 1, basic 2, basic 3. So if a teacher is having a science lesson, which you need like 3 hours, you are being told to teach 3 subjects in those 3 hours, 1 hour for each subject. So you have to limit yourself to what you can teach from the book, the what is, the list, and leave the practical aspect away. Because if you have a practical aspect, that means you should allow each student to try his hand on the practical or her hand on the practical, which will take more than the 1 hour you've been given. So that's
Well,
how it becomes a
that's
challenge for the
true.
teacher.
I heard about a new curriculum. Um, is it functioning? Is it working? How is it like? How is the new
Yes,
curriculum
the
like?
new
Do you have
curriculum.
resources to, work on that
Yes,
curriculum?
the new curriculum is very good. It helps the teachers, the students, in terms of the core competences. Because when you look at the new curriculum, it talks about collaborative learning. That is one of the main points of the new curriculum. The one point I like about the new curriculum is critical thinking, innovation, communication. So these are some of the things in the new curriculum that makes it important. But all these things has to do with practicality of the lesson. So if you find yourself in a place where the resources are not enough to help the child to think critically, to help the child to build in confidence, it becomes very difficult for the child to develop these things that will help the child in future. So I ask myself this question, and I ask each and everyone I meet. If you are preparing the students for the future, one, their problem solving skills, is it there? Because if you ask me what is, you're not helping me to solve a problem. But then from the curriculum and the things out there, it means the teacher should teach what is. Instead of teaching a question like, if there is this kind of problem, what do you think, or what will be your solution to it? Which means the student what? Think. But then it becomes a cheer important. What is?
Fine.
It is the this and that. Then he puts it down and he gets it. So that's the one of the issues.
Okay,
Yeah.
so another problem I have is, looking at critical thinking, numeracy, that's mathematics
Yes.
and the rest. Growing up, a lot of people had a phobia for figures,
Yes.
especially math and science. Is it still there? It's been a while I left.
For now, that phobia is not there. It's only there to those who don't have the resources. And that brings me to the topic where private schools are excelling more than the government schools. Most people blame the teachers, which to some extent is true. But also, a private individual will make sure that the students have one abacus. Two, any resource that will make the child understand the numeracy, the private personnel will provide. But when the government teacher asks for those things, there's one English they say improvise.
Yes.
Improvise. Yeah. It's not everything you can improvise. And sometimes your improvisation cannot be as real as the abacus or those things they are using.
Yes.
So those students in the private sector or in the urban schools who have access to these things tend to understand and do better than those in the rural areas and other schools who don't have these resources. So basically that is where, so those phobia is not really there. It's only there when you don't have the resources.
Okay, so another question I want to ask is, I think you've been to the rural area to teach.
Yes.
And the urban centers.
Yes.
What's the gap like? The gap between
the
the rural
gap has
and
to do with one, teacher recruitment. In an urban area, let's say GHS level, you can have 4 teachers teaching English because it has like 4 or 5 aspects: grammar, comprehension, composition, oral, and then literature. So in the urban area, there's a huge number of teachers out there. So each teacher take a specific area, masters that area, and teach the students. But in the rural area, you can have one teacher teaching that subject in those 4 aspects. So if the teacher is weak in literature, in as much as he will try, it will affect the students.
Okay.
There's a sentence I read somewhere that a teacher can only provide what he knows to the students. So if the teacher knows A, B, C, that means the student will only know A, B, and C. That is one point. 2, infrastructure. Where I work right now, sometimes when it gets difficult and what I want to teach, I cannot use words to explain. I simply go for my laptop, I put my projector there, then I video it for the students to see. So imagine a school in a place where their students are learning under trees, or there is no electricity for the students to have access to such things. They will not grasp that concept because some concepts need videos.
Demonstration.
Yes, demonstration, videos. Imagine teaching digestion. Someone at Amekum DA will have a laptop or a video to show. Compare that to someone in a typical village where there is no electricity. I don't want to mention any name, but there are some typical villages where till now they don't have electricity.
Wow.
You look at some parts of the northern part of Ghana where you look at the videos and how the students, some people have to cross rivers to get to school. And these students are supposed to go by the same curriculum and learn digestion. I hope you understand. It becomes very, very difficult to understand that.
So I would now look at parents. My last question before I take it. My parent-teacher relationship. How is it like at the moment? I mean, at a point they banned the parent-teacher association also.
Yes.
Is it still happening? And I mean, how are you going
It's not
about
there.
it? It's not there.
And it's one of the biggest problems in the schools. Some schools have reinstated it. because it helps. Now it's just PTI, parent-teacher interaction. It's no longer an association. Sometimes some schools also just PE, parent association, where the parents rather decide. So the teacher has been taken out of it. Now it's a problem because that PTA thing created a bond between the teacher and the parent, where the teacher could interact with the parent and they could come out with. There are so many buildings in schools here. You go and you see donated by PTA. But if the PTA is not there, that's become a problem. So the PTA is not there. Now, one thing I also say is that once the PTA is not there, it is brought about a gap between the teacher and the parent. And recently, one of the biggest problems of Ghana education is the parent, their attitude. There's this notion that most of these Gen Z parents, let me call them that, they see nothing wrong with what their wards do. I encountered a problem where this mother came to me and said that the child has been beaten. And what they accuse the child of, the child is not like that. So I asked her a question. Who do you stay with? She said, I stay alone with the child. And I said, okay, so let me ask you this. Do you think the child will be able to exhibit those behaviors when she's with you alone? No. When she's with her peers, she behaves totally different from when she's with you. So when you came, you are supposed to come and ask what happened. You are not her peer. So there's some words she cannot use. There's some things she cannot do. But when she comes to school and at that level with her peers, she will also have to act bossy and act in some way. So you think the child is innocent, but the child is not. I hope you get where the situation came from.
Yes.
But the parents still insisted that the child is not like that. And she was very angry, insulting teachers and all those things. So it was very bad.
Well, if you are enjoying this discussion, kindly subscribe to our channel, share our videos, and then like our videos as well. Now, let's look at, from what you are saying, I will go straight to discipline in our schools right now.
Yes, please.
You hear in the news, a student took a pair of scissors to school, senior high.
Yes.
I remember an incident at Adventist Senior High, where someone took a gun, I think a locally manufactured gun, and then it caused a problem with the girl's eye,
yes.
where a private person had to take care of the girl's bill to avoid her getting blind and all that. So what is happening my time, you dare not do that.
Yes.
So what is happening with discipline in our schools now?
Okay, so previously, the teacher had the right to discipline students. Though at times he went overboard. But disciplining students wasn't that bad. There were so many times you and I can testify that our teachers went overboard and their discipline were too much. Yes. But to take discipline straight away from the teacher, it was like taking a power from the teacher. Now the child has been told that the teacher cannot discipline me. Now we are learning from the whites that they don't discipline students, but the students are doing well.
They discipline them.
They discipline them. They have other forms of disciplining the students. One, let's look at something like this thing the whites say, detention. We don't do it here.
No.
I was watching a documentary, and a student was not allowed to play a basketball game because he was lacking in class. We don't do that here. So if a child who is very interested in basketball is lacking in class or is lacking in class, then you are being told that before you can do what you like, you have to learn, the child will be forced to learn. But we don't have that. So we just took the power to discipline a student away. I remember a situation I faced some years back, like some 4 or 5 years ago. I was trying to discipline my students. I think that was in the height where they brought the new rule where we are not supposed to discipline students. And one of our textbooks, our What Are People, where you teach about rules and those things, they had a picture of a teacher beating a student, and they've cancelled it, telling the students that corporal punishment is wrong. So my student did something. I was about to discipline her. Then she went and brought the book that said, you cannot beat me because it says you're not supposed to punish me.
Interesting.
And I put my cane down. So imagine such student is now in SHS, because this was like some 6 years ago, and they were DHS 1 or so. So imagine that student is now in SHS. And that's something that is totally wrong. You look at the youth rebellion right now. Teenagers and their will to just go against laws and rules. But you, the teacher, are being told not to punish the student. They feel okay, then they have every right to do what they want because no one can punish them. But during our time, when you are doing something that you know is wrong, you look back and you stay back because you know you might be punished.
Yeah.
But this time around, they go full in because they know they will not be punished. They know they would not be punished. So with that notion in them, parents are not punishing them at home. Teachers are not punishing them at home. They feel they have the freedom to do everything they want. And that's where the problem comes from.
That's where the rise in indiscipline is coming from.
Yes.
So let's look at guidance and counseling offices.
Yes.
Are they still in schools? And two, mental health. These people used to counsel students as well as advise them on their career choices. Are these offices still in place?
Okay, so most in the SHS and the university levels, they have an office, a dedicated office for guidance and counseling.
Right.
Now, for the basic level, even in SHS, some schools don't have, though others do. But for the basic level, JHS and the rest, where these things emanate from before they get to SHS, I've not seen a school with a dedicated office for guidance and counseling. Now, that's what they do. They'll choose one person at the district office as the guidance and counseling coordinator. Then that person would come to the school, choose a teacher who is supposed to go to class and teach as guidance and counseling. Because when you are learning as a teacher or when you go to training college, you add guidance and counseling to your course, even though it's not a course you pursue. So science is added to it. Me personally, I did psychology, so we did guidance and counseling. I can counsel students, but it's not my job. I'm not really trained professionally for it. So I can do to some extent, but not like what a professional would do. Two, there are no officers and the materials and the resources to properly guide and counsel these students. There's this kind of notice in students right now and in the youth right now that I'm concerned about it. That in the near future, there's going to be a big problem. That is anger issues. The youth are angry. Very little provocation. Either throw the hand, throw a book, throw a stone, and it's very, very dangerous. Guidance and counseling is supposed to do that. Now, you tell me as a teacher who's already overburdened by the curriculum to always be in class to be guidance and counseling. Every time am I supposed to counsel the students? On my free time, I might be marking homework or exercise or doing some other things. So you have to squeeze yourself and find time to counsel and guide the student. Now, have you taught the student that there's someone over there for it? Are you providing those things? No. So it becomes a problem. Though there are some teachers who are trying, others who have been accepted to do that are not also doing it. So that's where the problem comes. The guidance and counsel at the basic level, even at the SHS level, is not functioning that much. So it becomes a problem. So one thing I've noticed about students is anger issues. They are very angry. I don't know where it's coming from, but they are very angry.
Okay, so I would ask this. Technical and vocational education. What's your view on it currently? How is it now? Is it working well?
So with technical and vocational education, our notion, that stereotype about vocational education is very wrong. When I went to SHS, we were being told, "Obo and I have visual arts."
Yes, that's true.
So the stereotype about technical and vocational education previously is still affecting it now. But then technical and vocational education is the future. Every country, if you're supposed to develop, depends on your infrastructure, your manpower, your skill set. So vocational education and technical education is very, very important. Look at our background. These were done by students in SHS. If they're able to do this and we empower them, how artwork is going to take them to. Now, all the students who did this, if we empower them, it means all these students will not come out one day and say they are unemployed. Because if you can do this and get money on your own. You'll be self-employed.
Yes.
Number two, look at the rise in technical things in Ghana here. Ghana is a developing nation. So we are building buildings, architecture, designs, engineering. So we need to focus more on technical vocational education where we can have people. We don't have to always rely on the Chinese, the Germans, to come here and be building our things. We also need to do things on our own. So I think we need to get off that stereotype that if you are door, what born I visual art, what born I technical. No, because Ghana is developing. Look at the kind of buildings we are putting up now. Means technical education is very, very important. So if you take it as important thing and we start from the basic level, you don't have to complete SHS to now go and learn carpentry. You don't have to complete SHS to now go and learn building construction. You can start right from the HS level. A few years, not a few years, some years past, there was this curriculum which I've forgotten the kind of president who brought it, but they did carpentry in school, JHS level. They did masonry in school where they brought workshops where people were building my former school, where my JHS where I went to. When I went there, we had a room like that where they had wood and tools over there, but we were not going there for our technical skills. But imagine if you had went there right after JHS, if I can do this chair or this thing, I don't need to wait for government to come and employ me. I can make a couple of chairs and go and sell, then I have something to eat. If I can do machinery, I can get myself a job, someone's house and do business and get things to do. But the student will have to go and do science, business, come back home, go to university, get unemployed, then go back and learn machinery now at that level. So basically, we need to focus on that because we're a developing country and these things develop the nation. Technical, visual, and one thing we need to focus on more is IT. Technology is also very, very important.
Yeah, that brings me to my next question. Social media and technology. Is it affecting the focus of students or is it helping them? The positive and negative sides.
Okay, so my take is, I'm an IT personnel. I teach computer at my school. My take is, social media and technology is not the problem, but its usage becomes the problem. Now, imagine a student who like watching these short series, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, these short series. The one thing is happening to that student, loss of attention. That person cannot stay focused for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So when that person comes to class and you are a teacher and you are teaching, it means when you teach for 30 minutes, that person will not be focused on you because of the short attention span. Two, what are we projecting to our students? When we go to TikTok, the Ghanaian timeline, what is there? Jokes, dancing, twerking. But when you delve to the other timeline, recently I went to TikTok and I was trying to see what the people in China watch. And I realized it was totally different from our own. New technologies, new inventions, buildings, phones, smartphones, cars. And I could watch people as low as kg building phones, like going to the factory to learn how they build phones. The Chinese government are intentionally building their students for the future. So like I said, there's a video I watched on the Chinese timeline. The algorithm is built for you to only look at innovations, new technologies that are coming. People as low as 7 years, 6 years were taken to a technological factory where they were building phones, some were building cars. So a child who sees these things becomes motivated to learn these things. But let's come to our side of the world. Insults, these things. So the government will have to come up with the regulation that will regulate students. Then it comes to parents. There's one thing I've realized with my students. Most of them are using phones. They are not up to 18, but they have access to everything on the internet to the extent that some are watching pornography. Here's the trick. Google only understands that you can get to some sites when you are 18. Now the parents will buy the phone, use the parents' email account, which is over 18, to register the phone for the child. No parental guidance. Then the child will have access to all these things which are not good. So the parents also have to have they have a job to do, a duty to make sure that what their students are watching is important. The last I'm going to talk about social media and technology is the young kids that we allow them to have phones. It's very dangerous. If you have realized, you as an adult, whenever you use a phone for long, you realize your eyes are itching. So imagine a child as young as 2 years, 3 years. You have this big tablet in front of the child because when you give the child the tablet, the child will not cry. And then the parents give it to them. As a teacher, I went to our KG class and one student was forcibly taking away my phone. He wants to play game. The moment I said no, he started crying. KG, around 3, 4, 5 years. Because He always gets the phone to do what he wants, but it's very, very bad. Even if you give the child that phone, there should be limited time, 2 hours, 3 hours, then it goes off. Google has that function, child account. You create a child account for the child, where the child can have access to things that are what for children, but not a full access where they can have access to everything that they want. So basically, social media is not a problem because social media can really, really help. There are times that I've gone to class where I'm trying to explain a concept the students are not getting. I quickly watch social media, I get the video, and it simply makes the lesson very simple.
Okay, so if you had the chance to change three things in our educational system, what would you change?
The first thing is mindset.
Mhm.
The first thing is mindset.
Mhm.
I don't know, but some people are starting to believe that education is not worth it. The youth,
Yes.
they are starting to act like education is not worth it. Oko school na yɛ den. Na school kura oko wie no be yɛ den. If care is not taken, people will get there and they will have no education background. And that will also be a very, very big problem. Because of that, students are not taking school seriously. They are not taking school seriously at all. In the place where I used to work, my previous area, the rural area I was working, you go to class and as a teacher, you will not feel motivated to work because the students are not around. You ask and they will say they are at the Galamsey site. I talked to one student of mine, Bandana, that's his name. I was like, so why don't you come to class? His response was very simple and I couldn't say anything. He said, I'm a course site member, I'm 400 citizens, but pay school.
As young
400
as he is.
as young 15, 16 years, he goes to the Galamsey site, comes back with 500
A
cities,
day.
600 cities a day. So if he goes the whole week, he's earning 2,000 plus. The teacher, you are taking 2,000 plus. He's taking more than you in a month.
Yes, yes, yes.
Do you think he will come back to school? No. But one thing he doesn't know is that that thing will not stay there forever. Even if it will stay, it will come to a time that you need to use your brains. That's when education comes in. So if care is not taken and our mindset doesn't change, the future will be very difficult. So I ask myself, are these the people we are preparing for the future? Are these our future leaders? Then we are in big trouble. Number two, resources, which is very, very important. The world is changing. It's becoming a global world. It's becoming a technological world. Technology is very important. So we should input technology into our education system. That's why I will advocate each parent to push their child towards STEM education. That STEM education is top notch, where they study science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I'm not saying the others is not, but for now, that is where the world is changing to the science and technology and the engineering. So you should have your students. I've seen some private schools trying to incorporate that into their schools where they have a STEM teacher who teach the students about engineering, technology, and the rest. And it's very, very important that we do that. And then my last point is about parents. I've realized that most parents don't really care about their awards anymore. When I was young, I thought my grandmother was very, very educated. But she was tricking me. Whenever I came home, she'd be like, where is your homework? Let me see. Have you done it? So I thought she could read. So I was always eager to do my homework. Not knowing she couldn't read, but she was making sure I was doing my homework. But ask yourself, how many students these days, how many parents these days really sits down with their words and look at their homework and those things? That culture is leaving and it's affecting the students. They would rather sit with them and watch a novella than do their homework. And it's one problem that we need to change. So basically, that is that.
Now, your final words to those students who are discouraged, and as you were saying, going to school, what will come out of it? Instead of going, I would rather go to the Galamsey site and make some few hundreds. What do you have for such people? Those who do not even want to hear about education. What do you have for them?
So what I want to say is education is not about passing exams. You go to school to be smart. You go to school to be able to know what you want to do next. Because imagine someone who has been to school being given $1 million and someone who has not been to school being given $1 million. How they are going to handle that money is going to be totally different. So in as much as they think education is not important, it will get to a time education will be the only thing that will open the door for them. Me being here right now, I can go to some offices Not because I'm popular or anything, but because of the kind of education I have, because of the kind of profession I am in. But maybe you will not be allowed there. So basically, it is important. Now, when you are traveling, they ask of your educational background. They don't ask of how much you have. You can pay for the visa, you can pay for the plane tickets, but your education background might get you rejected. So education is very, very important. Even if you have millions of dollars, without education on to how to manage it is going to be very, very difficult. So you should learn. You should take education very seriously.
Viewers, this has been a wonderful discussion, and I've learned so much from this, from our educational system and from our dear teacher here. I hope you've done same. Let us know your views on our education system in our comment section. Thanks for joining us today, and we will be bringing you more of such discussions. Thank you.